Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today we got a little collection update to do for you. I've got like a dozen titles here that I'm going to show off and talk about, so stay tuned for that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel today for this collection update video. It's been a while since I talked about anything outside of 4K reviews for my collection. I've had so many 4K titles come in recently that it's actually been hard to keep up, and I have quite the backlog, but I wanted to show off some stuff that I recently purchased and some new review titles that came in, including some really cool retro stuff from MVD, a cool Paramount Presents title, and some really nice 4K stuff that I'll get to reviewing later. So I'm not going to waste any time here on this video. We're going to jump right into it, and the first couple movies that I have here are actually titles that I picked up from the Blue Underground family video sale, which I talked about a few videos back. First one is Snuff. This is kind of a notorious movie. People thought this was a real snuff film and that people actually died in this way back in the day. There was like legal action taken against it. It was banned in a lot of countries. Crazy stuff. So that was a cool one in the red case from Blue Underground. Then I got the Toolbox Murders, which I have the Toolbox Murders 2 and didn't have the original. This is another one that, you know, notorious, sort of in that same vein as like Last House on the Left and all those 70s like really gory horror movies that really push the envelope. And then in that same vein, Night Train Murders, which was also called a Second House on the Left, New House on the Left, and Torture Train. And this was one of those that, you know, had ads like most movies last 2 hours. This one will torment you for a lifetime, and has some really like gory stuff. But the cool thing about this is it actually has a score by Ennio Morricone, who I probably just butchered his name, but you'll know him, very famous for doing spaghetti westerns. And most recently, I believe he won an Oscar for The Hateful Eight, working with Tarantino. And he became very popular because of that just in recent years, but he's an all-time classic composer and actually did the score for this, so that's kind of a cool thing. Then I have one title that I picked up from Australia. This took a good 3 months to get to me, but I wanted to have it on 4K, especially after Criterion announced they were putting out a Blu-ray, but they weren't putting out a 4K release. I went ahead and bought this 4K instead of the Blu-ray. Criterion, you got to step up and do 4K stuff.
Boom. Roasted.
But this is The Elephant Man. This is from Studio Canal, but I bought this. This is from Australia, which is fine because it's region free. 4K is region free. Now the Blu-ray discs on here with the special features are region locked, so you'll need a region free player to play them. But I really bought it for the movie. I got a really good deal. I think this costs like $12 US, including shipping, to get to me. So like that wasn't bad at all. I bought it from JB Hi-Fi, which is a big store in Australia. But there's also, I believe, a UK version available. And it's cool to see that some of the 4K releases like this, they had They Live, which I almost bought, but is now coming from Scream Factory in 4K. So we'll see what else comes in 4K, but that's a cool place. And the nice thing about 4K is you can literally buy them from anywhere in the world and they'll play because they're region free. Now for some review titles from the studios. I got the next in the Paramount Presents line. It is Roman Holiday. Actually, the first time that this has ever been available on Blu-ray. Another 4K transfer. I would have loved to see this on 4K disc, but it is what it is. It has the poster art and the kind of cool artwork, slipcover, clear case. I'll be doing a kind of video on Paramount Presents and what I've thought about the line so far, to recap a few of the past titles that I've had, like Pretty in Pink, Roman Holiday here, Airplane, and a few others. So stay tuned for that video. And then I've got some more from Blue Underground because they're pumping out 4K titles like crazy. They just announced their 6th 4K title today. And I've got the New York Ripper and the House by the Cemetery. So both of these on 4K. I will review each of these. I'll get a video out. But based on what I saw from their work on Zombie and Maniac, these should be pristine film transfers. And then I've got some really cool stuff from MVD and their Rewind collection, which sort of is like kind of like B movies. The way they package them makes it really look like it was on a Blockbuster shelf or something. These are kind of forgotten movies that are now getting some new life on Blu-ray from MVD. And the first one is Mikey, which I'd never heard of, and as a horror fan, I was surprised. So here's the cover. You can see it definitely looks like an old like VHS tape. It's cool. They do retro covers for their Rewind collection. But I'd never heard of this before, and I'm surprised I'd never heard of it because it sounds like my type of movie. It also sounds a lot like the rise of Leslie Vernon, where they kind of are like, in this case, it's a kid, and they're kind of following, you know, as it says, like, remember Jason and Freddy were kids once too. You know, the fact that his name is Mikey, I haven't seen it, and I don't want to spoil it. I don't think this is a Michael Myers Halloween origin story. It's kind of surprising that they did Mikey when Michael Myers is already such an iconic character. But an interesting movie. Definitely, if you haven't seen Leslie Vernon, that also has a really cool spin on horror and like how a slasher becomes a slasher. Cool movie. Scream Factory has that release. But that's what it reminded me of. Then from their Rewind collection, I've also got a double feature martial arts movie, which is super cool. I've got Blood Fight and Iron Heart. This is the type of thing that like you would have picked up at Blockbuster and just like had a good time with, had a lot of fun with. You know, I don't expect them to be incredible. Like back in the late 80s, early 90s, like when you're talking about like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bruce Lee had like a resurgence. Obviously he had passed, but like he had a resurgence, and Brandon Lee and all these different martial arts was so big, and the Karate Kid, and all these movies kind of came out of that. Jackie Chan was huge at the time, like, and it's just kind of cool. It's a double feature. Got a couple of those movies from that time period, and you know, they're fun, they're goofy, they're adult action movies, rated R. There's gonna be some violence and swearing and, you know, just some fun. It's nothing crazy. Wouldn't watch it with your kids, but they're fun martial arts movies. Then we've got a cool sci-fi Split Second, which is a kind of interesting movie because it's set in the year 2008, and I love movies like that are older. Like even watching Back to the Future, where they're set in 2015, it's like, wow, like that's really what people thought the future was going to be like, and instead here we all are sitting in our houses, basically trying not to die and working from home.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
So not quite as advanced as we thought we'd be here in 2008 or 2015 or 2020. But a cool sci-fi is written by Gary Scott Thompson, who did The Fast and the Furious. Michael Pollard's in this. Pete Postlethwaite, who I actually like a lot. He recently passed, I believe. And then Rutger Hauer, obviously, he's kind of like this maverick cop, they call him. Kim Cattrall's in this as well. Cool sci-fi action cop movie, a lot of fun to watch, and always fun to laugh at what people thought 2008 was going to look like. And then this last one is not from like a Rewind collection, but it's just MVD is distributing it. It's called Max, Reload, and the Nether Blasters. Reminds me a little bit of like Kung Fury, which is kind of low budget, goofy, but it also reminds me of like Scott Pilgrim or movies like Gamer. It's basically this kid who works at he's a video game store clerk. He gets the only copy of this legendary lost game, and he unleashes this curse, basically. It has cameos from Kevin Smith, Lynn Shay, who's in a lot of horror movies, Martin Kove, Jesse Cove, voice talent from Will Wheaton, and they say, you know, it's a love letter to gaming, 80s culture. It has that look and feel and kind of covers all those topics. So that's why I said, you know, very similar to like a Scott Pilgrim or a Kung Fury or stuff like that that's come out recently. It's one of those kind of nostalgia movies, right? Even right up there with like Stranger Things and everyone playing on that nostalgia. But one of those movies, but cool that it got a Blu-ray release because it's definitely like a smaller feature. I had never heard of it, but MVD, they do a cool job like putting out indie movies like that on physical. And then the last one I've got here is another 4K movie, just came in, and it's an animated 4K. It's Ghost in the Shell. This is the original anime, the animated version, not ScarJo, no Scarlett Johansson. So Lionsgate's putting this out. It's got Dolby Vision, it's got Dolby Atmos. I'm really excited because this is the first like anime movie that I've seen on 4K. Ghost in the Shell obviously is a classic. I'm not much of an anime fan myself, but I can certainly appreciate the way that it looks, and I think it's going to look fantastic on 4K. Totally restored. Like I said, Dolby Vision should be great for animated movies. Into the Spider-Verse is like one of my favorite 4K discs, even though it's not this crazy, upscaled, well done restoration from a film transfer, 35 millimeter, or anything like that. It just pops, and sometimes that's nice, and that's what I'm hoping Ghost in the Shell can do. It can just pop. But Lionsgate put this out as part of their 4K line, so this is a cool one. This isn't one that I necessarily expected. A lot of people are very excited about it, I'm sure. Me, not so much. I'm not a huge fan, but I am excited for the potential this has to look amazing on 4K. So that's about it for the video. That is everything I've picked up, everything that's come in lately to the collection. I have lots of reviews to do. I've got to do those Blue Underground 4Ks. I've got to do Ghost in the Shell. I've got to do Elephant Man. I've still got to get to the Sherlock Holmes movies. I've got a backlog as well as a couple Hitchcock titles still to go. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and have your notifications on, because I'm going to try to pump those out as much as I can so I keep getting reviews out and videos for you guys. But other than that, make sure you check all the links down in the description. I'll throw a few Amazon links to buy some of these titles on Amazon. That helps support my channel. So if you're interested in picking any of these up, use those links. I appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram. Check out all the other links for ways you can support. But other than that, the best way to support is watching. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you very soon.